Hey, good morning. Welcome. This is Oluo Fakola de Vidinka Ifa Temple. We welcome you all. Cabo, what's happening? What's happening? Thank you all for joining us. New time, 8 a.m. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Idinka Ifa Temple. Thank you for joining us once again. Let us begin.
Boye gbogbo awo àbọ̀rù bọyè ẹ̀yin babaláwo èèyàn ìbọ̀rù bọyè ó yàn. Àwa lọmọrún mọlẹ̀ tí bẹ́gúngún. Àwa lọmọrún mọlẹ̀ tí boríṣà. Májápá gbé egun àdọ̀bálẹ̀ bọ̀rọ̀rọ̀. Ìdọ̀bálẹ̀ lọmọ ń kí bàbá àlùbọ́sà lórí ẹ̀fọ́ yànnàyànnà.
Àṣẹ mójúbà ọlọ́run, mójúbà lẹ́dá, mójúbà Olódùmarè, mójúbà bọ́bọ́ rúmọlẹ̀, mójúbà bọ́bọ́ ìmàlẹ̀, mójúbà bọ́bọ́ egun tẹ́ńbélé tó Olódùmarè. Mójúbà ṣùngbọ́dẹ, mójúbà gbọ́dẹ, mójúbà frogdamus, mójúbà tún, mójúbà flori, mójúbà palayo corriente, mójúbà filipi zalowetu, mójúbà gunjobi, mójúbà miyeye, mójúbà ìṣọmọlọ, mójúbà ìṣẹlanko, mójúbà mitunade, mójúbà ẹṣubi, mójúbà bá ṣẹjúmọ́nádẹ fúnmínú kọ̀ọ̀tà, wọ́n bá bá àti ìbára kírun, àṣẹ ẹ̀ẹ́dì ọgbẹ̀. You hear people please and set the please. You hear people please and fruit please. You talk people and show that the talk is completely absorbed. You hear people please and set the please name the time. You hear people please and fruit please name to die. You talk people and show that the talk is completely absorbed. Name boy Shana. Originally the person knows and being person wants to promote one and I felt impressment. Strike frogs on some rainfall. Bullfrogs on some downpour. It is whatever the accurate radio point to tells us worth it accepts. Whatever the big rat tells us worth it accepts. All what I tell you, Pop, please accept them and prove them. Share. Oh, correcte. To show gratitude upon gratitude, all our gratitude. To display benevolence upon benevolence is the all of our benevolence. Whoever not show gratitude to yesterday's benevolence, such a person on Steve J's with you. These are the decorations Pop to the foreign one, the Orunmila. I'm going to mail play. Out of reach Fuji. These also decorations Pop to Orunmila. I'm going to mail play. Out of reach Fuji. I'm grateful. I see my gratuity. I'm grateful for yesterday's favor. I'll see today's gratuity. We were very grateful. Ashe. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bùrẹ́, àwa dúpẹ́ àwa bùrẹ́, àdúpẹ́ àná àròbùrẹ́ tó níbọ̀ Olódùmarè. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bùrẹ́, àwa dúpẹ́ àwa bùrẹ́. Adúpẹ́ àná àròbùrẹ́ tó níbọ̀ orí ẹni. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bùrẹ́, àwa dúpẹ́ àwa bùrẹ́. Adúpẹ́ àná àròbùrẹ́ tó níbọ̀ ẹrú mọ̀lẹ́. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bùrẹ́. Àwa dúpẹ́ àwa bùrẹ́. Adúpẹ́ àná àròbùrẹ́ tó níbọ̀ lẹ́gùn lóríṣà. Ifá, we thank you for life. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength. We thank you for food, clothing, and shelter. We thank you for all the good things of life you provided for us. We ask for your forgiveness. Eros and Tutu, pounded down without two people can be very difficult to consume. These were the declaration of Ifa to a Tutu, the child of Agbeneregun. accused full of bad characters, bad attitude, have prevented him from entering 2000 men. Now come to solicit on behalf of it tutu. Just come to beg on behalf of it tutu. Father, please be patient, overlook this provocation. Those who beg on behalf of tutu. Orunmila responded by saying, those who beg on behalf of it tutu. Those who solicit on behalf of it tutu. How many children does Esau have that he is casting out? Those who beg on behalf of it tutu. Not sure. Oh, Belara, if I would ask at this time that you would ward off all death, ward off sickness, ward off cases, controversies, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and our fights, ward off witchcraft and negative energy from us. Bring forth to us all the good things of life. Guide us, direct us, protect, and keep us safe. Asher. Oh, Bella. Orunmila said it is time to sleep. I echoed it is time to sleep. When the day dawned, I met Orunmila in the 16th room, where he covered his head with a flowing gown full of lice. He was wearing dress full of bloodstains. He was snoring heavily. They told him that a delegate from his iPod. Orunmila caught what the delegate brought. They told him they brought 2 rats with some money, 2 fish breaks from swimming, 2 birds with some flight, and 2 goats with big livers. Orunmila said, that's on this way. Come on. I admit my ignorance. You educate me. Montuna Karaba. I hide myself in your bosom and survive. Montuna Karaba. The dog can't masquerade to be Sagbajan repeatedly. The dog can't masquerade to be Sagbajan repeatedly to perform rituals because of children. You are the leaders, we are the followers. These are the ones that show the followers wisdom. Orunmila told them to get alligator pepper, to get colonna, to get bitter corn, to get alcohol. The copper got the colonna, got the bitter corn, got the alcohol, got the atari. That is right. Now that you are fully awake. Orunmila, when you are fully awake, please look at me with eyes of compassion. It is with eyes of compassion that the heavenly stars, you look at the stars below. Orunmila, when you are fully awake, please look at me with eyes of 12, 1, 2. Secure a good spouse. The sex that I was my spouse you can look at me with. Orunmila, when you're fully awake, please look at me as you choke once you bear many children. The sex that I was a child to use and look at her with a ready to play. Be for long, not too far, join us in the midst of all Iran life. Asher, if I at this time we ask that you will continue to ward off death, continue to ward off sickness, continue to ward off cases and controversy, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and our fights from us. Bring forth in its place long life, wealth, good spouse, good children, peace of mind, joy, victory, and all the good things of life. Oshe Arula. Tiny other feet of Tubu. The stripe of a chameleon is not big enough to be this headgear. Had it been enough to be this headgear, I would have taken it home and adorned my head with it. These we file decorations to Arula when going on a spiritual mission to Jebulu. We can't look against them and consult and make rich. Can't Arula respecting the Jebulu. Oshe Arula, the good I will. Oshe Tura. I kick any bagisa. The abstract sharply against the tree, castify for Orunmila when he see V by not share from a little mind. If no one to be wealthy, surely be wealthy. I kick any buggy sign, the mouth of an orange, I ziba not share, the mouth of an owl. If no church have victory, surely victory. I kick any buggy sign, and the mouth of ones, I ziba not share, the mouth of an owl. If no church have joy, surely joy. I kick any buggy sign, the mouth of ones, I ziba not share, the mouth of an owl. If no church have all the good things of life, you should surely have all the good things of life. I share. If I please support us. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi ru Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Owó tí mo bá màmá wí ìrúmọlẹ̀ ò bà. Ifá ò bà ó Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Mímọ́ dúró tí mo túre. Bímọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ tí mo túre. Bímọ kúnlẹ̀ tí mo túre. Timo joka, Timo shule, ire Timo su oritibo. We can put our hands on our head. Orieni larure yeni o, Orieni larure yeni. Mojulo mifawa mori, Orieni larure yeni. Sure. Bobore chasu. Ifá ọba ọlọ́run àti bàjájú. Ifá ọba ọlọ́run ó ṣe àrùìlà Ifá ti bọ́. All of them are in the divinities. We thank you for life. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength, food, clothing, shelter. We ask that you would continue to ward off death, ward off sickness, ward off cases and controversy, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and our fights, witchcraft, and negative forces from us, and bring forth in its place long life, wealth, good spouse, good children, peace of mind, healing, victory. Ifá, at this time we ask for particular healing for all of our family members, all of our members. Thank you for the healing of my mother. Thank you for the healing of my father. Thank you for the health of my spouse, my children. We ask that you would continue to support our siblings and our loved ones at this time. Ifa, come to all of our rescue and truly be our salvation. Please move my ego out of the way so that we can hear a word of Ifa. Ashe, Emma Kamimini Amo, Emma Kamimini Ano, Emma Kamimini Adelokun, Samuel Tori, Ifa Alonimi, Ibora Timpanini, Enembana, Àwọn àti Ifa Lelejo. Ashe. Thank you all so much for joining in with us today. Thank you also for my family who's joined in today. They're in the house with us at this time. So thank you all for coming in and rocking with us today. Um, and thank you all for joining us at this new time. We thought that it would be a good thing to kind of shift the time around and also do some different things. So we've got some new additions coming as we continue on with Idinkai Fa Temple. We're gonna do some new things. So hopefully you all can stand with us and hang out with us as we transform and try to do our best to transform our concept of Ifa here in North America. So today's topic is very interesting and I say dear to my heart. Why? Because we think so often about saviors and salvation. We hear it oftentimes in settings around church. We hear it oftentimes in settings around the mosque. But what do we know of salvation in relation to African traditional spiritual processes? And it's important to know Orunmila. And when we talk about this, I don't want to talk about Orunmila in a way where it's a process about proselytizing. I'm not talking about the proselytizing aspect of salvation. I'm merely discussing an aspect of knowing a deeper part of ourselves and a deeper part of our path and our destiny. And in that, we will know even greater salvation. So when we talk of this thing in the sense of Savior's Day, I want to ask one question. And that question is, what is in a name? What's in a name? When we know about what Orunmila, what does the name of Orunmila mean? In particular, the name Orunmila in essence means only Orun knows who will be saved. Some people say only heaven knows who will be saved. And when we think about this idea of saved, it ain't the kind of saved and sanctified saved. It's an aspect of only Orun, only heaven knows what your true path is, your true destiny is, who you really are. And Orunmila is our salvation in that respect, in the respect that Orunmila, as a deity who brings forth Ifa, knows what our destiny is. And when we speak of this, we, in knowing Orunmila, in knowing our destiny, we are to put our hope, our faith, our trust, our salvation in Ifa in order to see the success and the actualization of such. So I remember 25 years ago when I was reading a book. It's called The Sacred Ifa Oracle, years ago. And there was an Ariki to Orunmila, and I know a lot of people say it a lot of times. In the Yoruba, it begins Orunmila, Ilere Ipin, Ibi Keji Olodomare. So that Oriki is so powerful, but I want to say it in English. And as we say it in English, I want to deconstruct and analyze the aspects of this oriki or praise to Orunmila. This Oriki says, Orunmila, witness of fate. Second to only Olodumare, thou art far more efficacious than medicine. You, the immense orbit that averts the day of death. My Lord Almighty to save. Mysterious spirits that fought death, to thee salvation is first due. Salutation is first due in the morning. The equilibrium that adjusts world forces. Thou art the one whose exertion is to reconstruct the creature of bad lot, repairer of ill luck. He who knows thee becomes immortal. Lord, the undisposable King, perfect in the house of wisdom, my Lord, infinite in knowledge. For not knowing you in full, we are futile. Oh, but if we could know you in full, all would be well with us. This Oriki is so powerful, and it helps us to reify the idea that when you know your destiny and you know who knows your destiny, when you know who knows you better than who you are, and you know that aspect, you will know even greater peace, even greater elevation. Ifa says, Orunmila, witness of fate. What does that mean? That basically means that Orunmila was there when many of us, when we all, chose our fate, when we all chose our destiny. Orunmila was present when we chose our destiny. He was there as we were coming from heaven to earth, and we said, this is what I want to do. I've talked about this before, the aspects of Akunleyan, Akunlegba, Ayamo. Akunleyan is the aspect of one's destiny that they chose while they were kneeling. Akunlegba is the aspect of a person's destiny that was supported or given to them by the Irumole while kneeling. And the Ayanmo is the aspect of one's destiny that we cannot change. Orunmila was there as we knelt down and we chose our destinies. Orunmila knows us in a very, very intimate kind of way. So in knowing Orunmila, we know a really deep aspect of who we are. This Oriki also says, the you basically calling Orunmila, he is the one who can reconstruct the creature of bad lot, the person who has a bad destiny, the person who has a bad aspect of life. Orunmila is the one who can assist us in reconstructing that. And he is the repairer, the one who supports and repairs bad luck or an ill destiny. He can support you in transforming that. Like I said before, Akunleyan is the aspect that we choose. Akunlegba is the aspect that the Irumole give to support our destinies. Both of these things can be changed. They can be adjusted. The only aspect that of a destiny that cannot be changed is one's ayamo. When we look at this even deeper, it says, for not knowing thee in full, we are futile. So if we don't know what Orunmila knows, or we don't have a sense of what Orunmila has a sense of, then we are nothing. Oh, if we could know you in full, all would be well with us. And when we look at this, Iriki, the powerful aspect as well is if we could know us in full, if we could know what Olodumare has put in us in full, all would be well with us. If we knew as great as we could be, then all would be well with us. If we knew the destiny, the purpose that Olodumare had for us and has for us, then all would be well with us. In the Odu Ifa Ogbeate, Ifa says, he who reclines against the holy palm tree uses it as his pillar of support. Such a person will surely hear the voice of Olodumare. What does this mean? When we put our rest, our faith, our support in the holy palm, and the holy palm is merely another word for Ifa, which is another word for Orunmila's blessing. When we put our faith and trust in that, we will surely hear the voice of heaven. We will surely hear the voice of Olodumare. So, as we literally recline, what does it mean to recline? It means to rest. It means to, like, if you think about what you recline on, you're not going to recline on something shaky. Why? If you recline on something shaky, it can break and you'll fall to the floor. You don't want to recline on anything shaky. You don't want to recline on something that has no substance. You want to recline on something sturdy, on something that you can trust. And thus, we will be reassured by receiving wisdom from Olodumare if we can indeed rest on Ifa. In the Odu Ifa Osadi, Ifa says, run for solace. This was Ifa's declaration to Iyeri when going to uphold the pillar of Opwe, Ifa. He was advised to offer Ebo. He complied. Opwe, I hold on to you for support. Do not let me off. Iyeri does not go off the tree. Nobody runs to Opwe for solace, for them to be killed prematurely. Ifa is saying here, who is your pillar of support? If we make Ifa our pillar of support, then we cannot be let down. Also, the concept of solace. When we think about solace, what is solace? Solace is something that we go to for comfort, consideration, consolation, excuse me, at a time when we're in pain, when we are in distress, when we are sad. Solace means that we need to put our hope and faith in Ifa completely. The same aspect in terms of relaxing on the process, relaxing on something sturdy, relaxing on something that's worthy of your support, something that'll hold you. When you think about that, I want to continue to explicate this aspect of what you can lean on. The Odu Ifa Owarin Fun says, the fresh Osunsun leaves, Awo of Egungun, he was the one who cast Ifa for Egungun, the one who shall engage in confidential practices. He who does things without plan and achieve planless results. He was the Awo of Oro, cast Ifa for Oro, the one who shall do his things in utmost secrecy. He who is as solid as Shango's axe. He was the one who cast Ifa for the owner of the back one can lean on. The one who is worth relying upon even in the heat of war. And the one who shall do his things in the open. He was advised to offer a bow. Orunmila was the only one who offered a bow. Orunmila, I hold on to you. I lean on your back, the one who is as solid as Shango's axe. Ifa, I lean on your back. When we think about this Ifa is talking about an individual first who moves without planning. If you move without planning, if you move without organization, if you move without thinking it through, your result is going to be a planless result. If you move in secrecy behind closed doors and doing things that could harm others or what have you, if you move in that way, it will eventually come to light and you will be humiliated. Ifa says, he who is solid as Shango's axe. Shango's axe is not weak. Shango's axe is not bendable. It's not breakable. Ifa speaking in metaphor here. Ifa says, um, cast Ifa for as we shall do things in the open. Basically, do things in a community way, in a way that people can see what we're doing. We're not hiding anything. We're doing our things in public so that the public can see and see that what we're doing is not something that will harm them. Orunmila was the one who offered a bow in this situation. So when Orunmila offered a bow, Anawarin Fun Ifa says, Orunmila, I hold on to you. When we think about that, I want us to think about that the metaphor oftentimes, those of you who have been initiated to Ifa, and when we're initiated to Ifa, we're something that we hold on to. And the thing that we often hold on to when we walk out that little room is a feather. And I want us to think about this metaphor of, y'all seen the movie Dumbo. You've seen the show called Dumbo, and it's this huge elephant, right? And the elephant can fly. And at first, the elephant was holding on to this piece. I believe it was a feather as well. And Dumbo held on to that feather, and Dumbo was flying. And at a certain point in the piece, Dumbo lost the feather. He was looking for his feather. And they were saying, Dumbo, you don't need the feather anymore. It was merely something to help you focus so that you could fly. Now you have found the strength in yourself. Ifa is saying to hold on to what is unchangeable until we can find that thing, until we can find that beautiful, unchangeable aspect of Ifa inside ourselves. When we think about this and also further discussing the idea of leaning on Ifa, who can we rely on? Who can we trust? The Odu Idin Atago, Idi on the right, Otura on the left. Ifa says, Orunmila declares that it is time to rest. I responded that it is time to sleep on top of someone. Ifa says that who is dependable enough to sleep upon? I responded that our parents are dependable enough to sleep upon. Orunmila declares that our parents are not worthy enough to sleep upon at all. Orunmila asks, who can we rest upon? I responded that it is time to rest upon someone. If I ask who is dependable enough for someone to rest upon, I said that my spouse is dependable enough for me to rest upon. I never knew that one's spouse is not worthy enough to sleep upon at all. Orunmila declared that it is time to take a rest. I responded that it is time to sleep upon someone. Ifa says, who is dependable enough for you to sleep upon? I responded that my children, they are dependable enough for me to sleep upon. I never knew that one's children were not dependable enough to sleep upon at all. I now declare that I am ignorant. I don't know who is dependable enough to sleep upon. Ifa, if you program me to be wealthy, Opeagunka, forever I will sleep upon you. Ifa, if you program me to be blessed with good kids, Opeagunka, forever I will continue to sleep upon you. Ifa, if you program me to be blessed with all the good things of life, Opeagunka, forever I will sleep on you. When we talk about sleep, sleep in this respect is not about, okay, I'm about to sleep. You got slept on. We have a slang word in the sense of when someone is, in essence, put to the side and it's like, well, I slept, you got slept on. It's not talking about getting slept on. This is talking about resting upon. Like when you think about the idea of when you go to sleep and you put your head down on the pillow, you put your body on the bed. As I said before, you're not going to rest on anything shaky. In this Odu, one of the powerful aspects of Indinatago is that we literally will take a king and sleep on those Ikin for an amount of nights. And this is seen as an example that we are literally relying on and resting on Ifa. We're relying on and resting upon Orunmila. The Odu Otra Ogunda Ifa says Otra went to Iran, but excuse me, Otura went to Iraq but did not get there. Koki went on a journey but never returned. Truthfulness is more satisfying than lying. Ifa's message for he who has relatives and has family members but has no sympathizer. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. There is no sympathizer as one's God. One's God is one's sympathizer. There is no sympathizer as one's Ori. One's Ori is one's sympathizer. There is no sympathizer as one's Ifa. One's Ifa is one's sympathizer. When we think about this verse, Ifa is saying you can have all of your family and your loved ones and all of your friends and all the homies that you have. But at some point, just as the previous verse, Idinatago says, you can rely on this person and that person will let you down at some point. It is human nature for humans not to always show up for other humans. It is in our nature. You can put your trust in parents, in your wife, in your children, and at some respect, they will not show up exactly the way that you need them to. It's not saying that they won't show up, but are they going to show up for you in the way God will show up for you? Will they show up for you in the way that Orunmila will show up for you? That is what Ifa is saying here. So all of these individuals, we have all these people, and oftentimes we are the ones who will support and do things for our family members, running here, running there, getting groceries, paying bills, doing different things for our family members. But who looks after you? Who can you run to for solace? Who can you sympathize with? Ifa says the person or the entity that you can sympathize with is God. And when we talk about Ifa being our sympathizer, what that means is Ifa is the one that I go and tell my problems to. Ifa is the one that I go to when I am low and I'm feeling bad and I am I'm wondering about the world. That is what Ifa is talking about. Can you go to your child? Can you go to your spouse? Can you go to your friends? You can't always go to them and lay down that story or lay down that burden. But Ifa is the one that you can go to and sympathize. And I remember years ago, one of the first Babalaos that I went to, that I received my hand of Ifa originally from, was Babaji Latosisa out of San Diego. And I remember he said to me, I had my Ifa and I was like, all right, well, what do I do with it? I remember I was uh, just out of high school, just getting into college, and he was like, okay, you've got Ifa now. And I was excited. And then he says, what you need to do is you need to just relate to it. I didn't understand what he meant when he was talking about relate to it. And then basically what he was saying is you need to go to that Ifa and lay your burden down. You need to go to that Ifa if it's a time where you're sad. I've gone to my Ifa and cried and let the tears fall into my Ifa pot. I've gone to my Ifa with challenges and just sat there for hours and just told all my problems to Ifa. That is what Ifa is saying. Relate to your Ifa. If you don't have a relationship with your Ifa, if you don't have a relationship with Orunmila, what are you in this for? Why are you here? If you can't go to your shrine and come back renewed. If you can't do that, if you aren't doing that, that's what we're talking about, is going to Ifa and relating, going to Shango, going to Eshu, going to Oshun, going to the various shrines, various Irumole that you have, and pouring it out, sharing what's going on with you, sharing your triumphs, sharing the problems. And you have to do that in order to formulate a powerful relationship. When we think about the idea of Oshe Ifa, that's what we're supposed to do. On Oshe Ifa is merely just a check-in. It's a check-in with, hey, this is what's going on, Ifa. This is what's going on, Oshun. I'm having these problems. Can you help me? And you check in on a consistent basis. It's a relationship. And you think about that, what do you think the Irumole do if you ain't spoken to them since you got the pot and you've had that pot for 10 years? It's obvious there's some things going on with that shrine that you need to tend to. The idea is relationship, sympathizing. You make Olodumare, you make the Irumole your sympathizer. Ifa says in Ogbe She, the she goat carries carries an Ifa tray on its head and was consulting Ifa with it. Ifa's message for Agogo Shekete the gong. Um, when excuse me, who was the pillar of support behind Opeifa. He was advised to offer Abo. He complied. Orunmila will be the pillar of support behind me, just as Agogo Sekete is the support behind Ope. We need a pillar of support, and we need to make Ifa, we need to make Orunmila our pillar of support. So the last Ifa that I want to share comes from Otropon Meji. Ifa says, the effervescence of Igba leaves makes it impossible for it to be used to wrap salt. The nature of Emi leaves confuses those who want to give leaves out to others to use for wrapping salt. These were Ifa's declarations to Orunmila when he was frightened, never to go out at night again. Ifa asked, because of what? He responded that it is because of robbers at night. They said that Oka, the cobra, he is a robber at night. And Agbadu, the black snake, he is a robber at night. And Ere, the boa constrictor, he is a robber at night. Orunmila was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Orunmila declared that left to him, Ifa is Omiran, the leopard. A king, the holy palm, is Ikuku, the hyena. Nobody dares to stop the head of robbers from going out anytime he likes. So when we think of this verse, the story is as follows. Orunmila at this time was living in a town called Ado Ekiti. And while Orunmila lived in Ado Ekiti, he was very successful there. He was thriving there. And he was a Babalawo who was in very, very, very high demand. And he had built up a large mass of money. Orunmila was actually rich. He was so rich from offering at bows and doing atefas and making shrines and doing various things. He became so rich and financially wealthy in Ado Ekiti that people began to get jealous of him. Orunmila also, he would travel to other places, but he always went back home to Ado Ekiti. People would send for Orunmila in other towns. He would go to the town and he would come back, and oftentimes he would come back very late at night. And many people began to get jealous of him because he was coming up, because he had plenty of money. And there were individuals who had plotted and planned to take Orunmila's life and also to take Orunmila's wealth. Many people in the community began to warn Orunmila, Orunmila, Baba, please do not go out at night. Please, there are people who plan to rob you and kill you and take your money. Please be very careful traveling at night. And it began to be a point where everybody, all the time, Orunmila was getting these messages. Every day, Orunmila would get a message. Hey, Baba, there are people out at night and they want to kill you. There are people out at night and they want to rob you. And Orunmila, at this point, he began to worry. Orunmila began to get anxious. And he then investigated and he determined that the robbers, their names were Oka, the cobra, Sebe, the black snake, Ere, the boa constrictor, and Paramole, the rattlesnake. All of these individuals were after Orunmila because of his wealth, and they were jealous of his success. He then went frantically, and as I said before, Orunmila was afraid. And he went to cast Ifa to see if he would be able to overcome his enemies. And the Babalawo told Orunmila that yes, indeed, you will overcome your enemies. Orunmila was then advised, don't be afraid, because your enemies, they rely on that fear as fuel to pump them up. He was also advised to speak boldly with his speech. And Ifa says he needed to speak with courage. And Orunmila was then told to never to forget who he was. Never forget who Ifa is. Ifa is the leopard, and the holy Ikin are the hyena. Neither a leopard nor a hyena would ever be afraid of a cobra. They would never be afraid of a boa constrictor, a black snake, a rattlesnake. The leopard will never fear them. The hyena will never fear them. Why? Because they eat those things. So Orunmila then recognized that he was to put all of his faith in Ifa. Imagine that. Orunmila had to put his faith in Ifa and speak boldly. So he did as he was told. He went out and walked with confidence. And as he demonstrated the confidence that these things have no power over me, that is not my story. As he walked in that confidence, as he walked in that strength, that in and of itself repelled the enemies. Those enemies, they don't want to be around. They don't want to be around another strong force. They want an easy fight. So they backed off. And then there were some that wanted to challenge him. And some actually came out of Orunmila and they lived to regret it. So what I'm saying to all of us is as we move forward, as we move to make Ifa our salvation, as we move to make Orunmila our savior, what we need to do is focus on faith, not even faith, but focus on knowing more than fear. Do you believe that Ifa is the leopard? Are you a child of the Irumole? Do you know that for a fact? Do these things really exist? I'm not talking about some fairy tale. I'm talking about, do you believe that Ifa is working in your life? Do you believe that Ifa is like science? It is like spiritual science. Do you believe, like the same way, it ain't no belief in the sense of when a very adept Babalao makes incantation and puts an animal to sleep forever. It is not a belief. That ain't no, oh, I believe he can do that. No, he says the incantation, it's done. Do you believe that there are medicines that repel bullets, that repel knives? No, that ain't a belief. That's not okay. Let me analyze the empirical aspect, the scientific method of does Ifa work the incantation? No, take the medicine. I'm gonna try and chop your arm off. This happened to me. And it didn't work. That my arm is still here, and I don't have a knife mark on my arm. I'm telling you that Ifa is real. It works. I don't need to convince you. Ifa will show itself. If you don't trust it, that's on you. If you want to dip and dabble and be like, oh, well, I'm going to do this and then maybe, well, the doctor said this. No. What did Ifa say? No, really. What did Ifa say? What is your Odu? This is a science that's been around before the science that is around today. What does Ifa say? And as we recognize that, as I said before, it's not about what you believe. I don't care what you believe. I want to know what you know. Do you know that the ground is solid? You can step on that and you can walk on that. You know that's solid. You know I can just stand up right here. I know that this is a chair and I can sit on that. I know it. The only way I don't know it is if it's a fallacy. But if this is a chair and this is solid, I can sit on it. I can rest on it. If I know my bed is in the house and it's laying there and I can sit on it and it supports me, then I know I can lean back. This is the same way you need to be about Ifa. Period. hold on to Ifa like that. Ifa is not something, your belief, it's not out there in the sky. It's like that couch you sitting on. It's the floor that you put your feet on. That is how we live our life. Period. So with that, I say, make Orunmila your solace. Make your Orunmila your pillar of support. Do whatever you need to do. But at the end of the day, make Ifa the deciding factor in all of your movements. And that will be the thing that helps you to thrive. Aboraboy, I thank you all so much for listening. I thank you all for hearing what we've had to say and share with you today. I pray that it has been something that is rich and elevating to you all. So let me get to these comments and let them show up. Thank you all for tapping in with us on the new time and rolling with us. So we're going to try to do some greater things in the process. I have a couple of announcements. I have more than a couple of announcements, actually. So those of you who want to be initiated to IFA, you're very interested. Chief Popola is coming to the United States. He will be in Miami, and he'll be in Miami on the dates November 9th until November 14th. Those of you who are interested, please reach out. Please contact me. My phone number is on the flyer. I will be coordinating, that at TEFA. So I'll be in Miami at that time. So if you are interested, if you have family members who are interested, please contact me. Also, we're going to be doing Hands of Ifa. Chief Popola will also be doing interpretations of people's Odu. So if you're interested in any of that, please contact us, and we'll make everything available for you. So please join in. Also, on the 30th of this month, we will be doing an event for also All Saints Day and also Nakambuka. Nakambuka is a Pan-African day of remembrance. Nakambuka means I remember in Kiswahili. So we'll be doing a day of remembrance at 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in Lamert Park, in the park on that day, the last Sunday of this month. So flyers will be going out very soon. Those of you who are interested in helping us to conduct this ritual of honoring our ancestors, paying homage to those who have fallen, and elevating them, please contact us. If you want to be involved, we will give you all the directions in terms of what you need to bring, what you need to do. It will be perhaps candles, food items, all of these things, flowers, all these things. If you can contact us, we'll give you the rundown. But that is going to be happening in person on ground on October 30th, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock in Lamert Park. Be there. Also, this week, we have two events. One, this coming Thursday, we'll have Makings of Men. So those men who are really interested in joining and learning, please join in at that time. We'll also be having we're working on a program for the women. Right now, we have a program for the men, and it is called Makings of Men, and we'll be having that this coming Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also, this Friday, we're going to have conversations with Ifa this Friday. The topic is going to be in honor of Hoodoo heritage. So the topic is going to be African spirituality is African liberation. So if you all are interested, the flyers will be going out. I'll put those flyers out today. And if you're interested, please join in. We're going to tell you what it's about. You know, we're going to talk about the history, and we're going to talk about why our ancestors used that process and how that is unified and tied to all of our indigenous African traditions. So we thank you all once again for joining in, and we will end with prayer. Olodumare, we thank you for life. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength, food, clothing, shelter, all the blessings that you've given us this day. We ask that you will continue to bless us in this process as we make Olodumare our savior, as we make Orunmila our savior, as we make our Ori our savior, as we make the Irumole, Oshun, Eshu, Shango, Ogun, as we make you our salvation. Save us, support us, so that we can in turn save ourselves. Ashe, may you be blessed throughout this week. Aboru, Aboye, Aboshishe, Aboto. Thank you all for tapping in with us.
Àgbè ló làró. Ìran àlùkò ló lóṣùn ro. Lékeléké ló lẹ̀kùn. Àwa ò fi ṣe tágbé o, àwa ò fi ṣe tágbé. Bàbá wa ló nípa o, àwa ò.
More announcements. Those of you who are interested with Ifa links, tap in. New book by Chief Popola, Pathway to Ifa. If you don't have it, please get this. Also, in hardcover now, Omoluabi. Get yours. It's time, y'all. Gotta get this Ifa information. Thank you all. Ashe, Aboro, Aboye, Boshishe.